Today is what's today? Today is October 8th, 2023. I'm here with my beautiful, sexy, gorgeous. What's your name, girl?
My name is AKDI.
And who are you?
I'm Big Top's wife.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, I win. I win, guys. I win. I win. I don't have to do anything else in life. I already got her. I got the girl. I got the girl. So today we're gonna be chopping it up again with y'all in the live stream. Anybody come in whenever you feel like it, or if you're watching this on the playback, I hope you enjoy it. We only plan to be on here for an hour or so, so everybody pile on in. But if this conversation gets really hot, heated, we're gonna stay here for some time. So let's get to it. Why not? Shall we get to it? Yeah, or I don't know.
I'm ready. I have my wine.
Yeah. Let me ask you, do you think people are going to roast me today because I posted the Juma video and now I'm on live drinking wine?
No, I mean most Turkish Muslims drink alcohol.
Yeah? Yeah, you
Yeah,
think? Okay. I mean, I did see a lot of drinking in Turkey. And
yeah,
also today I did post us eating Japanese food and it was like all pork.
yeah.
uh,
There's different types of Muslims
I know,
and
right?
different types of all religion.
Right. I mean, the important thing for me is that I try to be a good person and that I also still like believe in God and believe in the prophet. You know, I mean, I consider that the most important thing for me. I don't know.
Yeah,
And
same for you.
anyway, so let's not waste any time because this is actually a very big and deep topic. Today we're talking about the gender war, the fight perpetually on social media, in conversation, in books, in movies, in media, everywhere. The fucking gender war. When will it stop? Actually, when will it stop?
I don't know if it ever will.
Let's talk about this. So let's first define what the gender war is. Like I'll give my impression of what it is. I think the gender war is this conflict between some men and some women, primarily in culture, in society, like how people talk. And when men say, you know, we want this from women and women are like this, and we want to be able to do this as men, and women say men are like this and men are like that, and men are, you know, this, and this, and they, and we want this from men. And there's this conflict between men and women on what they want and what they say they want. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
what they're getting. So how would you define the gender war?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get that deep into the gender wars when it was hot. I feel like this topic it's still a hot topic, but it became very fiery with like Kevin Samuels and Tate and all those people. And I'm not saying they're the same, but they both had an influence on the topic. But I would say that it's like this, you power and communication gap between men and women, and the fact that they're saying that they want different things, but for me it looks like they both want to be in relationships, but they don't know how to do that, and that difference caused like gender wars.
Yeah, yeah. It's like they all want the same thing, but they're going about it different ways.
Yeah,
And yeah, I get that. I get that. I think, I think, I think with men though, we want some men, and I'm not speaking for me because I'm married, but some men want to have their cake and they want to eat it too. So
yeah,
they want to have the girl, but they also still want to have their options, their side pieces, their mistresses, their girlfriends, whatever, right? On top of their main girl. I
yeah.
mean, do you think women want the same thing too though? Because I think men kind of want the same thing, but also extra.
I don't know if you could define it the same. Like in surface, it does sound the same. Like women want to have jobs and careers, and they want to be rich. They want to be their own sugar daddy. But at the same time, they want to have, a husband that also works and makes a lot of money. They want to have kids. And, when you're working so hard and when you're, building up your fortune and things like that, it's hard to do family at the same time. Not impossible, but there's a difference because women have been not given the opportunity for many years. So I can't say I blame them.
Hmm.
So there's that difference.
Yeah.
Like, they have been the underdog for years. So now they won it. And now I feel like, well, isn't that our right to want it since men have been getting it for all these years?
I mean, that's a very good point. Like, women sort of want to have their cake and eat it too. Like, because for I think it can still be argued, can you, as a woman, have a full career, be super, successful career woman, and also at the same time, the full mom that you need to be, the best wife that you need to be? Because each of those roles is a job in and of itself that requires a lot of time and dedication. And that seems to be the struggle that women have, like in their world. But a lot of women seem to think, like, okay, we can do this and also do this, get the man and also the career. You get what I'm saying? I don't know. What do you think about that?
I mean, like you said, it's a job in itself, but it's not impossible. And I feel like if the world worked towards that goal, like men would get what they want as well, as women. Like if there were some different type of regulations, and you know given there were, like, I don't know, some benefits for women for having a kid and things like that. I think it would be very much possible. Like, it wouldn't be that hard.
Right. I mean, it is hard right now because a lot of places in the world don't give like maternity leave. A lot of places in the world don't cover the health insurance of women who are going through, birthing children or pregnancy and that sort of thing. So, yeah, we live in a world where it is hard to be a woman, a mother, and all of that stuff like that. All right. All right, Avery Adams came in and said, I have to turn on my notifications because I missed 4 of the live streams. Well, welcome to this one, man. We're talking about the gender war, about men and women, about if there is this conflict, does it actually exist? Will it be eternal? Has it always existed? Will it always exist? Etc. That's what we're talking about here. But yeah, so men want their cake, women want their cake, and they both want to eat them at the same time.
Yeah.
Can there be a resolution to this? Because I feel like on the men's side, there it will never be acceptable for us to have our wives and our mistresses and that sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
Because what we want is socially unacceptable a lot of places unless they have polygamy or something like that.
Hmm.
But for women, it's socially acceptable to say that, I'm going to be a mom and a career woman, that sort of thing. What do you think?
I mean, yes, because like I said before, I feel like your guys' cake is like this chocolate lava golden coated cake, and ours is basically like this basic sponge cake, but we still
Mhm.
want it. So yeah, I feel like that's not something that's impossible, like I said, and it's not going against anyone's beliefs, or it's not it doesn't have any negative effects on anybody's I don't know, beliefs in their culture, basically.
Right, but
But
that
men, like, hurts the other person. No one gets hurt when women work.
okay, but some would argue, okay, the kids miss out. The kids don't have a mom. The kids need somebody to be there for them after school. The kids need somebody to make them dinner. The kids need somebody to change diapers. We don't need the maid and the nanny. I'm not saying what I'm thinking. I'm just saying what the view is, because like I said earlier, and like you said, like you agreed with, I assume you agree with, being a mom, being a wife is a full-time job. You get what I'm saying? So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, those are concerns of today. But like I said, if there are certain policies, if certain men, you know, came into the family agreeing that, okay, it's going to be 50-50. I'm going to, do some of it, and you can do some of it, and the other part we can get a little bit of help. Like,
Right.
so that's not impossible, like I said. So I don't see any negative outcomes from that if the system is specifically like made for that. Because
Hmm.
right now the system is made for inequality. But if the system is made for equality, then it could work.
Right. No, I do agree with you that we live in a system that's like unequal. By the way, Avery Adams said he was just talking to his girl about this, and that's why we're having this conversation because this these conversations between men and women, we seem like we have them every day, every week, every year. It's the same conversation, and we just want to know when will it end because it seems like a conflict that has no end. But like you said, we live in this world right now where there is this unfairness for women to be able to do all the things that we expect women to do, right? And does it have to always be this way? Like, does it have to always be where women are like trying to fit all the boxes and men are trying to tick all the boxes too of what we need to be? Or can there be a world where men can be a certain way, women can be a certain way, and we don't have this conflict with each other? What do you think? I don't know.
I mean, throughout the world, there has never been that sort of society or system that basically made men impossible to have multiple women or cheat and things like that. But for women, it's not like that. Of course, we have the system that doesn't allow women to work and do all of those things. But I feel like. Uh, if we're talking about where the world is going and how the system is right now, I don't think we can expect everyone to check our boxes, to be honest. So we should come to like a conclusion among each other.
Mm. I
'Cause
mean,
no one will check all of your boxes. Like you, when you choose your partner, I feel like they check most of your boxes, but
mm-hmm,
adapt some of your boxes too, you know?
mm, mm. No, I mean, I agree somewhat with that. I think when you meet that person, like they check. How can I say this? They check most of your boxes, or you drop off boxes, I guess. But I guess that could be the same thing, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. Would you mind reading the comment for us?
yeah. So Avery said, I told her I want to go back to the beginning of time. I provide the home and the structure, and she works at home for the family, just like it says in the Bible. I'm led by God, and she's led by me. Oof. Avery
That's an
broke my
interesting
heart.
take. He broke your heart? Why? Why did he break your heart with that?
Because w- tell me, as a man, would you want to be led by another man or another woman?
I mean, I wouldn't want to be led by another man in a relationship because I'm not gay. I don't know
Or,
what you mean, like, or a woman. I
yes.
don't mind. I don't mind you making more money than me, or paying the rent, or
Yeah.
paying the light bill, or the Wi-Fi, or the car note. Can I talk about all the things you're going to pay in the future?
Not about me making more money than you. It's about me making all the money, you not making any money, and therefore everything we basically have to do is like my choice. Except when I
uh,
allow you to make choices.
um,
And sometimes,
I
by
mean,
the way, sometimes that works because sometimes the husband who makes all the money is like, "We'll do whatever you want, babe." But when things get hard and rough, then that's always a thing that comes up, and you can never be right in that situation as a woman who did not work for all of the years, work
mm,
financially providing.
right. I mean, my thing would be if you were the more financially successful person in our relationship, I would be okay with that. I would still try to work on my passion projects or start a business or something. I would do something with my life. I wouldn't just sit at home on the couch. When it comes to the control thing, for me personally, I think this depends on each and every individual man. For me personally, I just want to have control over the movies we watch, the TV shows we watch, and what side of the bed I sleep on. That's it. And small individual things. Um,
Yeah, but
Maybe I'm sorry, maybe just big things I would be concerned about, like what city we live in, what country we live in, what school we send our kids to. You know, maybe those things I would want to have some input in. But other than that, I'm kind of cool with everything. But you know.
yeah, but like I said again, it's not about me making more money. It's about me making the only money that we make. And sure, if you want to start a YouTube channel, you can, darling, but you also have to take care of the house and the baby. So, whatever you can do in your free spare time, but at the same time, like you cannot be how do I say that? You cannot be too over the top with your content.
Mm,
That's what I feel like most dynamics like that work. And tell me if I'm wrong, Avery. Like maybe I'm overdoing it, and maybe you're a pretty chill guy. And I also respect like what you think and how you want to live your life because it doesn't affect me, obviously. So, but yeah, that's why I find those type of relationships problematic, and it's not for me.
mm. All right. I mean, Avery said, let's read his comment. He said, can I even see? All right, that's interesting. You know, it would hurt my pride to be led by a man or woman. I just think the 50-50 thing creates conflict unless things are actually fair. Very interesting. I think what is actually fair. Like I think it depends on relationship to relationship, because fair to me is I pay the rent, but you pay the car notes. Or fair to me is okay, I work 8 hours outside of the house, but you work 4 hours in the house. Or vice versa. I'm 4 hours in the house, you're 8 hours inside. So we can take care of the house together. Like for me, fairness is about situation. You know what I mean? And I think an Albanian entered the chat. So we're going to say pizza and ice cream. Every time an Albania pops into the chat, we just say pizza and ice cream. But anyway, I think it's about fairness is for each individual couple. And I think for me as a man, what I've realized is that a toxic masculine trait, in my opinion, is wishing to be the dominant one. It's okay to coincidentally be the dominant one, but wishing to be the dominant person is, to me, a sign of toxic masculinity in a way. Because if you wish and desire to be the dominant one and you don't have to be, or you are literally are not, that can cause problems. You know what I mean? We
Yeah.
shouldn't wish for what we can't ever attain. You know what I mean? Or what's not real in a situation. Does that make sense? I don't know. What do you think about what I'm saying here?
No, no. I mean, it makes sense, and I agree with you on like the toxic masculinity aspect. But there are also things that, like, okay, I don't want to put you in the, how do you say, like in the zone, but there are some things that even men like you, who are like very educated and very understanding of, women's empowerment and things like that, have some toxic masculinity thoughts
Hmm.
because it's been like this for years. Same with me. Like when I first met you, I had these like in like not inherently, but some racist thoughts because I didn't know better, or I didn't like, think about it
Hmm.
deeply, and then we talk about it and things like that. And same with you on this
Hmm.
aspect. So yeah, I feel like even if you don't wish to be that, there are some instances where you can be toxic with your masculinity.
Very interesting. I listen, Acti. I want you to be honest and true, because on this channel we keep it raw, we keep it real, and in this case we're keeping it Turkish. So keep it Turkish, keep it real, keep it raw. So tell me, when am I masculine, like toxic masculine? Tell me. I would love to know.
I mean, I can't think of any specific like time, to be honest. It's sometimes because it's usually like, we're having a discussion or we're talking about something, and then you say something and it's like a one word that makes it like go into that toxic territory. So I can't think of like any specific things. But yeah, like sometimes, I feel like that with you, when you take pride manlyhood. Of course, I support that, and you should be proud because you're a man who is able to provide for me and, you know, family and things like that. And you work very hard, and you should be proud. But sometimes, you know, that crosses the boundary to like this sort of toxic, you know, sentiment, I guess.
Right, right. Well, I just want to clear this up for anybody who's watching this now or in the playback. I don't feel like tried to be patriarchal or
Hmm.
overly masculine. I do feel like maybe I speak in a way I speak in a way that might be very harsh sometimes. But I'm not the type of guy who says, "Girl, I pay for everything in this house, and everything in this house belongs to me." I don't feel like I do that. Actually, if you feel like I do that, I'm sorry if I do make you feel that.
No, you
But I
don't.
never once talk about the money I make or the house is mine or everything you got is mine. I don't do that shit. You know what I mean? So.
No, no, no. You don't do that. You know, I really appreciate every time, you know, we talk about these things about men and women, gender wars and things like that. And I like that you always side with women most of the time, or at least you try to look from like our perspective. And I appreciate that. And no, you're not a toxic, you know, masculine person. I'm just saying like there are the things that comes from our parents or, you know, the
Mhm.
culture. Like,
Right, right. Well, let's get to the comments. Would you mind reading some comments for us?
yeah. Avery said, LMAO, pizza and ice cream, a child's dream diet.
That's exactly what we said when we went to Albania. We were like, if you're 5 years old or 8 years old, you'll love Albania. Like if you, because all they have pizza and ice cream. It's crazy. Go ahead. Next comment.
He also said, I agree with you. I guess it depends on the individuals who get together in each of their strengths and weaknesses. You have to be dominant in your strengths and submissive in your weaknesses.
Exactly. Exactly. Like I'm bad at organizing things, and I sort of go with the flow. And Acti's good at like organizing, planning things out, making sure we're at places on time and where documents need to be. I'm bad at that stuff. I sort of just fly by the seat of my pants. That's how I work. I don't know. Is there anything that I take care of that I don't know? Do you want to add on that or no?
No, I mean, I agree with the most part, but I think it's also important, you know, when you marry someone, for example, you're going to be with them for the rest of your life, or at least that's what you plan to do. And let's say we will be married for, I don't know, 40 years with you, and 40 for 40 years, if I always do the paperwork or the organization, every single thing, I'm going to be like frustrated about that at one point. So of
Right.
course I would take on the responsibility if it's my strength, but at the same time I feel like you should at least try to learn those things to give your partner a little bit of a break.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
same woman, I feel like if as a woman you're working and your husband is working too, but let's say he's paying for most of the stuff, uh for me I would do like I would be like, you know, let's say he doesn't have a problem with paying for every and I don't make as much money as him, but I would love to say every once in a while, "Hey, let me cover this month's rent. Hey, let me take you, you know, to a holiday or something like that." Just to give your partner a little bit of release. I feel like it's important to also work on your weaknesses.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. But that's a Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just said like, and not rely on being submissive on those specific weaknesses.
Right, right. And I think weaknesses and strengths is a good point to get back to sort of our topic about the gender war because we were having an interesting talk on it on the couch about did the gender war always exist? Like 700 years ago, did the old ladies in the village and the guys in the field get together and say, oh, these women are like this? And the girls in the townhouse are like, oh, these guys are like this. Like, did that chitter, chatter, bickering back and forth always exist? Because I would say no. No and yes. I don't know. I'm still going back and forth in my head about it. I don't know, man. What do you think?
I mean, I want to say no, just like straight off, but at the same time, I understand why you would want to think y- it's a yes, because there has always been a dynamic between men and women. There has always been men and women since the beginning of humanity.
Hmm.
So I think we shouldn't confuse that dynamic with gender wars, because the reason I said no, it didn't exist before, was that yes, there were power dynamics, and for most of the time, for most of the world, the power was with man,
Mm.
and the woman was the one who was submissive. And but they, like I said, even like today, they made a conclusion together for one specific goal, which was during those times to, survive and produce, offsprings and things like that.
Hmm. Yeah.
So I feel like at that time, even though it might be unequal, both parts kind of took on their roles and went with it because there was something more important uh, for them. And today, we kind of don't have to worry about survival and, you know, reproducing that much. Of course, there are like some cases, but if you think about the average person, they don't really have to, think about survival in the sense of they did way back.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm trying to say, like, on one hand, like, we do still have to worry about survival. I would say everybody's worried about survival because you have to make enough money to live in this world that we live in, right? But I'm trying to think back then. Like, back then, I don't think guys were getting together saying women are, so hard to date, and the girls are saying, oh, these guys don't want serious relationships. Because back then they had like arranged marriages, polygamy. They had, basically everybody was trying to get married or trying
Yeah.
to find somebody to procreate with because you needed somebody to work the farm. You needed somebody to help you in the field, to take care of you when you got old and sick and couldn't take care of yourself. So back then it was like different dynamic. Men and women were both looking for each other because they needed each other for survival. As a woman, you couldn't live by yourself because you might get kidnapped, raped, robbed, and men couldn't live by themselves because who's going to give them kids to do what we said they. But I do think the issue about monogamy and men being faithful was kind of always a problem. That's why I'm like, did the gender war always exist? Because I think the gender war really has a lot of it about men being faithful. Men on one hand want their Madonna, but they their whore. And I think that's why my wife thinks I'm sexist, because I make these analogies. I make analogies like this, and this is what makes my wife think I'm sexist. Men want their Madonna and their hoe. They want, you know, they want, how can I say this? They want Lauren Hill and then they want Sukiana. They want their, they want Halle Berry, but then they also want, twerking Beyonce. Not the new Beyonce. I'm talking about the twerking Beyonce. That's who they want. So, so I think men have always wanted like more than one woman to make it, if that makes sense. And I think that's a big part of the gender war. What do you think about that?
Mm. I mean, I do think that would be true. Like, possibly back in the day, there were also like, oh, Avery sent us $20, and he said for the YouTube algorithm.
Thank you, thank you. Are there any more comments, by the way? I don't know if there are any more comments. No? Okay.
Yeah.
I can't see the comments, by the way.
Okay, I'll read them to you when they come.
All right.
Um, yeah, like I do agree with you. I somehow something in me says that men were kind of always unfaithful. Uh, I don't know the reason. You tell me the reason because I'm not a man. But um, yeah, but I still, it wasn't how like it is today.
Mm. Was it like, I don't know, because I'm trying to imagine a guy in a village in 1640, right? If some if a band of women just came by and said, "Hey, is your wife around?" and he's like, "No." Would he sleep with them? I don't know. I think the guy would back then. I don't know. I'm just being honest. Like I think he would. Okay.
I, I want to say, I feel like most of the time, the affairs that happened back then might be rape. Sorry. But yeah, I feel like that might be the truth. But, at the same time, maybe gender wars didn't start back then because probably women who had, husbands that cheat on them didn't really do anything, didn't really leave them. And they just kind of suck it up because they had a whole farm, whole, 10 kids and things like that.
Hmm. Yeah, they probably just wait. What'd you say? I couldn't hear you. What'd you say?
They didn't have any options to leave.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. Like back then, it was harder for women to leave with kids. Avery said he wants a Kim K and an Anne Hathaway. Who do you think's hotter? I always thought Anne was like super hot, and I don't think she's had a lot of surgery. What do you think?
No, I stand by Anne Hathaway.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, Team Anne all day. Kim, Kim had too much work done, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely.
It, it looks classy, but I feel like if you saw her in person, it would be scary. Like you would see like the scars from the facelift.
I think it would be that, but it's just that I don't know what you like. What you like, I like a more natural woman.
Right?
Just
Yeah.
about it like this, I feel like I'm a lesbian.
Wow. But anyway, I mean, yeah, I think a big part of the gender war is about men cheating, but the gender wars sort of took a different turn when women started getting the opportunities to work and be free and have more options on the men they chose and stuff like that. So I think that's a big part of the gender war now today in 2023. Guys can accept that women don't need us anymore, they want us now.
Yeah,
And that's the big problem, because back in the day you could just be a man and you could find a woman. Now you have to be a man and something else. You know what I mean?
yeah, and also like you said, back in the day, you could cheat on your woman, maybe even multiple times, and she wouldn't have any choice but to stay with you. Like one of the biggest examples was that I forgot the Monica Lewinsky.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Lady, what was which? What? Who was the couple that stayed together?
There was Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton, and
Yeah,
Bill got his.
even until like then, it was not really like a good option for women. So, you know, I feel like we now recently had options, and that's what started gender war.
Mm,
Now men are like, we used to do everything. We used to have the Kim K and Hathaway, and even Ice Spice too. And now it's like we can't even have Kim K.
yeah, yeah, yeah. By the way, can you read some comments for us, please?
Yeah. Avery said, "My girl now is more like Kim K. LOL. So in my male nature, I'm missing my N."
I mean, if you ended up with a Kim, that's not a bad look, is it? We're not saying that Kim isn't hot. It's just that we think Ann is a bit hotter. That's because we don't like the plastic. I don't know. Do you agree or disagree? What do you think?
Are you asking me?
No, I'm asking you. Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, of course. I mean, Kim K is hot. She's one of the hottest, women in the world right now. But yeah, I don't know. It depends on what you like, Avery.
All right. What else? Anything else?
Nobel War Prize said gender war is because the game flipped. I agree. Avery said you can't cheat now in 2023. Nobel War Prize said too many hurt women and men.
Yeah, I think Nobel War Prize, whatever name, that's a crazy name. Sometimes I'm surprised who's following me. I don't know who these people are, but I think that's a very good point. The game is flipped. Back in the day, you could just be a guy, like I said, and then women would sort of have to flock to you because they had no choice. But I think also what changed is now that women can sort of see everything that men are doing on social media, and like they're now able to like log in, check in on what you guys are up to and stuff like what we're up to and stuff like that. And that sort of flipped the game. You know what I mean?
So
Because like, yeah,
you not sad because you cheated. You're sad because you got caught. Is that what you're
I
saying?
think I think now it's much harder to have that family on the other side of town. You know, grandpa back in the day used to have a whole family on right down the street, you know, down the corner, turn the block. It's a whole other family.
It shouldn't have happened. Like to begin with, that shouldn't
Yeah.
have been a thing. At least not in our society, which is mostly monogamous.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it shouldn't have happened. So you guys have been like playing this dirty game for centuries, and now you finally got caught, and all of you are like just so mad about it and are running around like lost little puppies. Like, where's our side chicks? Where's our wives and all of that?
But I'll say it like this. I'll say it like this. We live. Let's keep it real. We live in a world where there are more women than men, just off sheer numbers. If every woman today got married, there would still be at least, I think, around 20 million women without a man. So unfortunately, a lot of women are gonna have to share some men. Unfortunately, now is that right? Is that right? No, but that does mean that it makes it harder for women to select the men that they want to be with. And we have to keep it real. We have to keep it real. Is it right for a man to cheat? Absolutely not. If you're with your girl, you should love that girl and make her your world. And like that's it. But unfortunately, some men are not strong enough to resist that temptation, and there are women out there who are desperate enough to take whatever they can get. And you showed me a chart that showed me like hypergamy. The top 10% of men, and usually those men are married, I would say, the top 10% of men attract every percentage group of women, the top 10% of women and other groups, right? So
Mhm.
unfortunately, a lot of these women who are left over, and we have to remember that a lot of men are gay. Well, let's keep it real. There's a lot of brothers on the DL. A
There's
lot
also
of
two.
there's also a lot of lesbians as well. But do we really think that's enough to cancel each other out? I don't know. I don't know the statistics. I don't
Not,
know.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I don't think so. And I think those top 10% of men are making the women at every level, choose up. The women are choosing up and
Mhm.
they are taking what they can get or what they think they can get. We hear those stories all the time. He told me he would leave his wife. He told me he would leave you. I promise you, Donald is gonna come to me one day. He's gonna leave that bitch Catherine. This is a classic. This is a classic. We know this. And that's because just off sheer numbers, there are more men than women. So what are a lot of women to do? I
I'm,
that's
okay, I understand your statistical, explanation, but no man cheats thinking, so there's more women in the world than men, so I have to cheat, I guess. That's never the motivation of any guy. No guy is thinking about statistics or population numbers when they're about to cheat. So that's basically not a practical argument for men. It might be statistically correct, but it never has a place in our daily life.
I agree with you. Guys aren't thinking, man, there's for every one woman out here, there's 2.3 men or whatever. Nobody's thinking like that. But the reality is, a lot of men, especially as they get older in age, more successful in their careers, more handsome with the pepper and salt beard, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, as soon as they start aging up and as soon as they start, getting the game on, they swag on, and they keep themselves together, a lot of men end up attracting a lot of different women because a lot of women, unfortunately, choose up not only in status but also in age as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So these young girls, and trust me, I know I have a young, hot, beautiful wife. So must I must have proved some part of this, right? You get what I'm saying? Like a lot of women end up choosing up for the same reason we said earlier. Women are choosing the men that they think can be the best providers for themselves and their children and that sort of thing. You get what I'm saying? Any comments? Do we have any comments? I'm sorry. I feel like I'm ranting right here, but
No,
I don't know.
no. Okay, Avery said socials will get you in trouble. Nobel War Prize said, LOL, I'd argue humans aren't meant to be monogamous. The modern family is the creation of civilization. I mean, that's an interesting argument. Avery said, I wonder how animals feel about this. From what I see on National Geographic, they have multiple partners. Are we so much different than them?
I want to go to that topic. Wait, so the guy said that modern families are the basis of civilization?
No, creation of civilization.
Okay, modern families like one man, one woman, and 2.5 kids is the basis of civilization or the creation of
No,
civilization?
saying family, structure of family was created with civilization.
Okay, not that it is the basis of
Yeah.
civilization. Yeah, because I
It's
would argue.
he's saying it's something that was created by us, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I think that goes back. Let me ask you, do you think when we were hunter gatherers, cavemen, Neanderthals, whatever we were back in the day before we had, agriculture and all that, do you think like we were monogamous and married and stuff like that? What do you think?
Mm, I don't think there was monogamy back then. I think it was more like roles, again, to survive. And maybe those roles resemble what we call family, structure today. I don't think it was monogamous.
I, I,
Dangerous to be monogamous. It was too dangerous. Like there were illnesses and sickness, sick people, babies dying, not being able to born, things like that. I don't think humanity could afford to be monogamous at that time.
I mean, I think there was monogamy to some extent because think about it biologically. If there is a man who procreates with a woman, right, that woman is compelled to want to try to keep that man there to help her protect her children because it's much harder for a woman to take care of themselves in a dangerous world with lions, elephants, whatever around. And that man, I think, if he's a human, because I think morals or ethics exist in people, that man would want to see his kids succeed and live and grow. So you know, I think there would be something like marriage. Maybe they didn't have a formal ceremony, maybe they didn't put rings on each other or whatever, but I think there was something like marriage at the very beginning. Do I think that's the basis of civilization? No. Do I think all of the civilizations or tribes like that at the beginning? No, but I think there was something like that for a lot of people because it seems to be biologically like how we're meant to function to some degree. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, maybe there was that inner commitment, but I don't think, it was as serious as it is today. Um,
Mm. I mean, we put a lot more emphasis on marriage because with civilization came agriculture and people owning land. And your son or your children were supposed to inherit your land. So you
yeah,
don't want anybody fucking your wife and having kids by your wife because that man will then be entitled to your land because his son is going to inherit your land that you think is yours. So that's why we, create these barriers and all the religions say the adulterer must be stoned, especially if she's a woman and stuff like that. That's why it was so serious cheating back then and
ma-
having sex before marriage back then. You get what I'm saying?
also, yeah, I understand what you're saying, and I mean, you know how I think about marriage. Um, Honestly, for me, like even though I am married, it's basically like a piece of paper, and it's like a business, like agreement for me. But of course, I love you much more than that piece of paper. So my commitment to you is not on that paper. It's like in my heart. And anyway, I didn't want to make this like a cheesy love
No,
story,
it's cool. You can always tell the people how much you love me.
but also like before civilization, you if you were not gonna be monogamous, then that meant if you're a man, let's say if you had children from three different women, then that meant that you needed to take care of three different women plus their kids and your kids, obviously. So maybe that might be also one of the things that stopped men from being, at least not like to an extreme level, maybe.
Interesting. Very interesting. I
Meant like
mean,
you had to hunt for six people rather than two people.
yeah. The thing is, we can speculate about this all day, but we'll never know. We can just sort of like guess. But anyway, any comments from any people?
Yeah, let's read a comment from Nobel War Prize. He said, I'd imagine we live in a small nomadic groups and members would have relations with multiple members of the tribes. I'm speculating though.
I don't know, man, because Acti and I sometimes watch those documentaries about uncontacted tribes and tribes in Africa and Brazil and stuff like that. Or at least I do. I watch that stuff on NerdTube like all the time. And I have not heard of a society yet where all the women are permitted to sleep with all the men. There are polygamous societies and there are some polygynous societies, meaning where women have multiple husbands, but those are usually very rare. And I think usually when we imagine that past, we do think more about men sleeping a lot with the different tribe members if that was the case.
Yeah.
But would that would that think about this. Would that be the best way to go about procreating as a civilization or as a society? Because you have the high chance of creating incest within your group. Think about it. If I sleep with my wife, Acti, and then I go sleep with her best friend, right? Both of those kids that come out of them will be siblings. And possibly if we're living in a tribe and I was sleeping with all the women in the tribe, there's a high possibility that the children I create could sleep with each other and then we end up having three-toed tribe. We're the three-toed tribe, guys. Everybody here got three toes, four fingers, and six eyes. Cause my dumbass was so horny, I couldn't keep it in my pants. You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that was a good evolutionary strategy for humans to
Yeah.
sleep, for every man to sleep with everybody in the tribe. Honestly, think about that. I don't know. Am I tripping? Am I tripping?
I mean, maybe that they discovered that gradually, but also came the, farming and agriculture like that. But yeah, maybe they discovered like, hey, so when my son and daughter have sex and end up having a child, this child is like not functioning like the other ones. And maybe this is something that we shouldn't do. Maybe that was something that they learned over time or something.
Right.
I don't
I
know.
I think whatever tribe had the idea that yeah, everybody just sleep with everybody, man. Let's just have a good time. Whatever tribe did that did not last long because obviously the next generation was going to mess it up as far as the genes and people being screwed up. You know what I mean? I don't know. Anything from the people?
Yeah, Nobel War Prize said gene variation, interesting. And Avery Adams said, I just want one woman. I think it's easy to fight all temptations if your goals align with family.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
I mean, for me, it's easy to fight my temptations. I don't struggle with that at all. And I feel like I can be with one person for the rest of my life. And honestly, I don't think like men and women love so differently. I'm not talking about desire and things like that, but I'm talking about just wanting to be with someone or feeling certain emotions towards someone. I don't think that's that different with us. Maybe how we show it is different, maybe what we expect is different, but the feeling itself is the same, I feel like. So I don't think when men say, some men say, "Oh, it's in nature, we can't just be with one person. Well, we're men, we have needs and things like that." And I just feel like that's an excuse uh, that they
Mm.
be in their relationship or something like that, or they didn't find the right person.
So you're saying if a man cheats, he didn't he didn't really love.
No, I'm not saying that, but it's not. I mean, you can love a person and things might really go like a different direction than you want. It's not that, black and white. But at the same time, I feel like, yeah, like if you love that person, then you should be able to resist temptations. I do acknowledge that there can be certain scenarios where it's like very easy for you to get tempted. Like, you get mad at your wife, you go out, you get drunk with your bros, and then this girl who's like a hot girl comes on to you, and boom, you cheated and
Mm.
things like that. Like, so, I mean, the time and the place also matters in this scenario.
Okay. I would say that I would say that men can love their girlfriends, their wives to the fullest extent. Like, because think about it, when a boat is going down or the plane is going down, all the guys stand up, all the real men stay women and children first, even if they don't even have a wife. Even if you don't have a wife or kids, you'd be saying men, women, and children first, and all the men have to stay. Because I think men, we love like that. You know, like we show that to the fullest extent because we're willing to give up our lives for our wives or our kids and that sort of thing. And women, I'm not saying aren't willing to do that too. I think that, you know, we, like you said, we love the same, but I think there might be a difference in how we view, how we show that love. Because I think, I'll ask you this straight up. If a man cheats, just because he cheated, does that really mean he didn't love his wife? If he really comes home to her, if he only did it one time, if he's always there for the kids, if he never brought home any disease, didn't get the girl pregnant, I mean, does that really mean he didn't love his wife just because he smashed some broad in Colombia?
Oh, I mean, it's complicated. Like, you can't judge it like that. But I feel like, truly, honestly, if that was my relationship, I feel like, um, as a spouse, you should know what consequences your actions might, you know, um, have. So I feel like if you are that much of a perfect, responsible father and husband, then you should know what's going to happen if you go to Cabo at 5 a.m. You know. So, uh, excuses. They sound like excuses to me.
Excuses? All right. Well, let's hear what the people have to say. Anything from the people?
Nobel said, "Men love unconditionally. It's a breach of trust."
Hmm. Anything else?
No.
For real? There's nothing else?
Said, but he may still love her.
Okay. I see my comments now. Women can love themselves and their children unconditionally. Do you see that?
No.
All right. He said, all right, hold on, wait. Men love unconditionally. It's a breach of trust, but he may still love her. I saw something here where Nobel War Prize said women love their children unconditionally, but something like variations may change. Yeah, that's what I think. I think men love unconditionally, and I think women love unconditionally too, but they love their
You
children.
yeah.
Women love their children unconditionally. I don't
Because
know if
we don't trust you guys to take care of them.
wait, what'd you say?
Because we don't trust, most men are not trustable to take care of the children.
No, wait. I think most men with their own children, with
Yeah,
their own children. Yes, no. Most sane, logical men love their children to the
I'm
death.
not
Like,
saying I don't love them, but it's because women spend literally their whole lives spending time with their children and caring for them. I'm talking about like the typical patriarchal family right now. When it's like that, women spend like their whole life basically sacrificing it for the children. They educate them, they help them with school, they, you know, take care of them, change their diapers and everything like that. And uh, you guys are just working. Like, I'm not saying you're not, contributing to the family. Of course you are, but you are like not practicing how to take care of a child. And I feel like that's why most women in that condition don't really trust the guy to take care of the children,
no.
not because they don't love the children, but because they're unpracticed. There's not enough practice.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you teach a man how to change a diaper, fill the baby bottle, feed them with the pacifier, everything like that, burp them properly, men can do that. There's single dads that have been doing
Of
that
course.
forever. And men love their children and they can do things for their children that women can't do, the same way women can do things for their children that men can't do.
Yeah.
Liam Neeson fought 20 niggas on an airplane to get his daughter back. Let's keep it real. Taken proves that men can do whatever they want for their children. We will go to the edge of the world. We'll fight. a big bad Russian bad guy to fucking get our kids back. What are
You
you
know
talking
what?
about?
You know what the girl said when Neil, I forgot his name,
Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson, took her daughter back, took his daughter back. You know what the girl said?
What?
Well, Dad, you weren't here for me for 10 years of my life. Now, why are you here?
Wow. See, that's a woman thing. What have you done for me lately? The Eddie Murphy classic. What have you done for me lately? What have you done for me lately?
And,
That's bad.
but that's the thing. Like most men, of course, they can learn how to do all of that stuff, of course. But most men are not like they're not willing to learn that stuff. They don't want to learn that stuff because they have someone who does that work for you. So
No,
why?
it's not. It's not. No, 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 no. I just want to say this. It's not that men don't want to learn. It's that we don't have the ability to learn because we live in a world now where we're told, men, it does not matter if you just had a baby yesterday. You have to be in the office. You have to make some phone calls. You got to go see John across the river about a horse. You got to do something to make money for your family. A lot of men don't have paternity leave. And even if they live in a country with paternity leave, they don't take it because we live in a society that tells men work, 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 work. You get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying. That's why I said in the beginning, it's the system who doesn't allow this sort of gap to close. You know,
Right. All
because
right.
they
Well,
have a choice for each like side. They have.
right. Right. Well, listen, we can't talk about this gender war, and we're almost like out of time or whatever, but we can't talk about the gender war without talking about social media, like how social media has influenced the gender war. And by the way, guys, I think the gender war is just this cultural phenomenon of people talking about this stuff all the time on social media, what women want, what men want, and that sort of thing. And I think social media has made a lot of people feel like they are qualified for what they are unqualified for. Every guy thinks he can get a big booty Brazilian, whatever, and every girl thinks she deserves a rapper, ball player, or a guy who makes $1 million sleeping. Right? You get what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
people have unrealistic expectations. And I go back to what Kevin Samuels said, in my opinion. When I first started listening to Kevin Samuels, what his message was this: you get what you qualify for. As a man, if you make this amount of money, if you are oh so handsome or oh so charismatic or oh so funny or drive this type of car, live in this sort of city, you are going to get a woman that matches your qualifications. And the same thing for women. A lot of women have unrealistic expectations. They want a man that makes $100,000 a year, but they got 3 kids, they're overweight, they have credit card debt. They don't own their car. They live with their mama, and they will say they want a man that makes $100,000 a year. Doesn't make sense. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is my message that I got from Kevin Samuels, and that affected me. Now all the other stuff Kevin did, I don't know about that, but that's what I think. Social media has got people twisted out of whack. Everybody's trying to flex on the gram, look super rich, or girls are getting BBLs and all sorts of plastic surgery. It's getting crazy out here. I don't know. What do you think about all this social media?
I mean, I definitely agree. Social media created this like fantasy for every, and they either come out delusional. So, like you said, they're like in the bottom percentages, but they won like the or something, and or they just hate themselves because they're not in the top percentage, and they try to adjust themselves. Some men resort to, I don't know, stealing and fraud and things like that. Women get dangerous BBLs and other plastic surgery and those type of things. So it either makes you hate yourself or it makes you like a crazy delusional. So yeah, in that way, I feel like social media has like fucked up the gender war in general.
Yeah.
Let me read some comments though.
All right. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Nobel War Prize said, with the gender roles of women changing, more women working and becoming the head of families, companies, politics, did this create the gender war? Ex- Excuse my bad grammar, lol. I know you teach English. Uh, Avery said, RIP, The Godfather, Kevin Samuels, real. Nobel War Prize said women are more impressionable by social media. And
Yeah.
Ozzy joined the chat. Ozzy said, Instagram has done more harm than good, in my opinion. I wouldn't mind if it got shut down tomorrow. I think it's currently banned in Russia.
Man, there's a lot of interesting topics like all these people are coming out with straight up. So I think Nobel War Prize has the right idea. Like women are like, they don't need men anymore. They want men. And men still kind of want and desire women. And to some extent, we need women to keep it real. Because my belief is you will never be a full man until you have a woman. You think you're a man until you have a woman and until you have somebody who depends on you and wants to be around you because they genuinely like you know what I mean, or what you have going on. So I think that's a very deep point. Do you want to add on to that or no?
I mean, I think a woman getting more, freedom in that field, like fired up that gap between men and women, and especially like, it, it just like fueled the power within, extreme feminist, and it also like made the extreme like, toxic masculine men like, even hate women more. If, I don't know if that's the feeling or if that's the right word to use, but yeah, I would feel it fueled it. Not necessarily like it's not necessarily a bad thing, like I said,
Mm,
because women needed to have these rights in order to go to a more equal society in the future, because that's all we want in the end, like equality for everyone, for every race, for every gender.
yeah,
So yeah, like I don't think it's a bad thing. I just feel like I hope men would be able to, digest this
yeah,
and don't get so caught up in it,
right,
because
right.
still want uh, they still want men. They still, maybe biologically they don't need men to have children, but humans need humans. Women still need men
Hmm.
for that like emotional fulfillment and for love and to grow old with someone. So it's not about having children all the time, or
Right.
not needing know, or needing children all the time. Like, if you ask a
Right.
woman if they would prefer to have a lab made baby or a normal baby with a man, every I feel like is gonna say I would want a baby with a dad.
So you're saying they want to put that stick up in them? They don't want that syringe up in 'em.
Yeah, gonna choose the syringe unless they're
I'm sorry.
you know unless they've been dating for 30 years and all the men they date is shit or something.
Oh man, let's talk about that part. I think somebody said women are more impressed by social media than
Passion,
men.
that was the word.
Yeah, that's an interesting point because I think, I mean, I taught a class about this that women get a lot of like body dysmorphia from social media and that sort of thing, right? But from my opinion, a lot of men are influenced by a different type of social media, like the message boards, or they're influenced by the thought leaders like Andrew Tate and Kevin Samuels and some of the other manosphere people. So it's like there's different social media that influences the different genders. You get what I'm saying? I don't
I also
know.
feel like social media's effect are very different for men and women, because for men, like you said, there are like a lot of those inspirational, what was it, red pill, the matrix talk, all of that. I feel like that creates a fantasy for men. But
Hmm.
for women, as like talking about my own Instagram page, I see other women mostly, to be honest, and that creates some sort of self hate.
Yeah.
Because I see this lady with a BBL in the boob job and the tiniest waist, and I know that could only be achieved by plastic surgery, and I don't want to get plastic surgery, and it's not real for me. That's not real for me. So I cannot fantasize about that, but I can only like, even if I fantasize about that, it's gonna come back to me as like self hate or like. being very body conscious. So I feel like social media has very different effects on both gender.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there is a bit of body dysmorphia with men sometimes because there are like weightlifting pages and stuff like that. But yeah, the body and the physical affects the women more, I would say. But I think there's a lot of stuff on the internet that mentally disturbs men, like, places on the internet, usually that are the darkest corners of the internet, that's all men. And, we've seen people on 4chan and on 8chan and on the dark parts of the internet get indoctrinated with like crazy ideas and become incels or mass shooters and stuff like that. So I think social media is different for men and women. Like, I think we agree on that. Would you be happy if social media didn't exist, like Ozzy said? Ozzy said something like that. But if you want to read any more comments, you can go ahead. I don't
Mhm.
know.
I mean, I'll just say this about social media. Like, I wouldn't necessarily be happy because right now, social media, talking about my own account, is just something that I use to kill time. But like for us, for our channel, Backpack Bandits, it's more like a little, startup business sort of thing. So, if like YouTube disappeared, I would be sad about that part, I guess. But if you're only talking about Instagram, like I wouldn't be that devastated. I would just find something else to kill time.
Yeah, yeah. I think if social media cannot be used to like sort of like benefit you or benefit humanity, then yeah, it can be bad. But I think we all have our platforms and we can all use them different ways. I try to use this platform to have interesting conversations, to show my life, to hopefully inspire people and inform people about different places. It's about what you decide to do with it. We all have a platform in this world, and it's about what you decide to do with it, in my opinion. You get what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you can
Let
have
me
an
read
Instagram
comment.
showing your booty or you doing your duty.
What? Your voice got cut off.
I just made a horrible joke.
Oh. Ozzy said, Instagram. Oh, wait, I read this. Nobel War Prize said, being a working class American, I hate Valentine's Day. My lady would compare my deeds to others on socials. And Ozzy said, damn, to Nobel. And Nobel said, LOL, to let her go, or maybe she let me go. Avery Adams said 1% of men and women's expectations is a real combo. Six figures in the US is not hard for men or women, and social media is full of good high. People ignore money is stressful at a high level.
Mm.
Nobel War
Yeah,
Prize, the Gore site, and Avery Adams says socials for business only.
yeah, let's talk about that because I think the gender war, at least in the U.S., is different maybe in different parts of the world, and I think maybe we're the big place where this thing is happening because I think in the U.S. there's like this idea about financial expectations from the partner, and a lot of that stress is put a lot on men, and a lot of men right now are dating and having this problem where they're meeting women who have unrealistic expectations. They want a guy who makes six figures, drives a nice car, lives in a nice house, has a lives in a nice neighborhood, and that sort of thing. And there are men, a lot of men, maybe, are not meeting that standard. Avery said it's easy, but I come from Louisiana, where very few black men. I'm talking about black men at least make six figures, let alone full five figures legally. You know what I mean? It's very crazy what's happening in our country. Is the gender war different in your country? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's much more early in my country to have gender wars, to be honest, because we're still fighting for women's right in terms of, sexual assault and abortion. I mean, I know you guys fought for that too, but basically we have, laws in Turkey saying that it's okay to marry your rapist and things like that, which is, very harsh for women. And there's still a very big pay gap between men and women, and there's still a lot of sexual assaults in the workplace for women. And basically it's like the issues you had like 20 years ago, but we still have them, and I don't know if it's getting worse or better because of our government right now. So
Hmm.
we're basically fighting against this, you know, uh, this extreme Islamist idea of what men and women should do.
Yeah. Yeah. So in Turkey, it's like a different sort of gender war. It's like the war for a gender to actually be free and fully human and make choices. That's what's
Yeah,
happening in Turkey.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I I think what we're talking about maybe is, from two different perspectives, because I'm talking about maybe, men and women being able to get on the same page about, what they want from relationships. And I think maybe sometimes when we're talking about the gender war, maybe you're thinking about like, men just accepting women for having the choice to be, sexually active, or to wait until marriage, or to not want to have kids, or to that sort of thing. You know what I mean? I think maybe we're sometimes, talking about two maybe different things that, when we talk about the gender war. I don't know. Am I wrong? I don't know.
No, I mean, we're not talking about two different things, but we're coming from like different, just ideas, maybe, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
like, I have a different fuel that, I think about when I think about gender war, or when I think about men and women relationships. I also have in the back of my head what is going on in Turkey and things like that.
Yeah.
But let me read some of the comments. We have new ones. Nobel War Prize said the minority of America make over six figures. Ozzy said especially black men. Avery said expensive restaurants and expensive gifts, luxury trips. Then you wonder if the 7K you spent on one female over a couple of months was even worth it. Nobel War said, do you guys think the American gender war has influenced other countries outside the West? Avery said, and it's hard to hide money here. Everybody wants to eat off the fruits of their labor.
Yeah. Let me
Mm.
talk about what Avery said first. He said, it's a trap in America, right? I think we live in like a hyper capitalist country in America where everybody's always trying to flex and show off, and you feel that pressure all the time to show the woman that you're with that you can take care of them and that you can fly them out. And let's keep it real. Let's keep it real. Hip hop, at least for black people, has made a lot of us have warped minds about what's expected. Future talking about I fly you to the Bahamas, you and your baby. You know what I mean? Like Future and a lot of rappers make us think like shit is like different. Like we're supposed to live up to that expectation, and even that, like you feel that pressure to compete. You know what I mean? And I think that's also what's making dating crazy because it used to be like if there was a hot girl in your town or your city, like only you would be able to talk to them. But now Drake is sliding into the hottest girls' DMs in Houston or New Orleans. You get what I'm saying? Like, how can you compete? You get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
you live in you live in Jacksonville, Florida, and there's a hot girl you've been waiting to smash all your life. You finally got your money right, and here you go. Snoop Dogg's in her DMs. You get what I'm saying? Like some wild shit like that. I don't know.
yeah. I mean, I understand because we've been dealing with this for years as women that, rooted from social media, but also from hip hop culture as well. Like, even like, black women, darker skinned black women have always felt less wanted because hip hop featured mostly light skinned women, let's say, or women with, big butts and nice titties and a small waist, things like that. So, women thought, they should get operations, or they should feel less if they don't have that, or they should settle for less if they don't have that. Or they also learned that they could expect, if they have those things, if they have a big butt and nice titties, they could want a Prada bag. They could want to be, flied out and things like that. So I think that culture influenced both sides, both positively and negatively, I guess.
Right, right. As far as like the colorism thing when it comes to like black women. There are some black women who say like, you know, black men weren't checking for me because I was dark skinned and that sort of thing like that. And I do think colorism is real in some parts of the black community, but I would say that at least from my experience when I was growing up, like how it went, at least as far as like the girls, it was like light skin and dark skin kind of went out of style every few years or so. Like there's this joke that was in the '90s prominently, like light skinned niggas are out of style. Oh, light skinned niggas are back in style. Oh, light skinned niggas are out of style again. So it was for me, at least when I was coming up in Louisiana, that's what it was like. It was like, okay, we like red bones now. Okay, now we like chocolate fees. Okay, red bones back in style. Okay, now we want the, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think, for me, at least from my experience, I was never influenced by seeing like light skinned, models on TV. You get what I'm saying? It was
Yeah.
always like, we when we were coming up, we were just trying to get what we could get. You feel me? But I do think it's real, but it's not like, as prominent as that's just my opinion though.
Okay, I
Um,
don't have that much information about it. It's just what I've heard, listening podcasts or from things like that.
yeah, that's just my experience though. But I think there was another question. Does the gender war affect other countries? I think Oh man, I don't know, man. Does the gender war affect other countries?
Can
That's
I make
deep.
sense since I'm not an American?
Yeah, go ahead. Tell me what you think.
I think Americans are crazy. I think you guys like just I don't know, you with all of things that goes down on social media, you guys like, make it like your whole life. I don't know if that's, but that's how it seems from outside. It's like you see this thing that's like a phenomenon or a discussion like gender wars, and basically it feels like that's how now you live your life, like according to gender wars or something. That's what it
Mm.
feels like or and look like from outside. But I mean, there's not that much of uh, talk for Andrew Tate or Kevin Samuels in that perspective in Turkey, I would say, at least.
I mean, maybe it's not like Andrew Tate and all that stuff because that's the English world, but in the Turkish world, you know what I mean? Uh, is there like that divide between guys are like this, women are like this? We can't seem to get along. We can't seem to date. Because when I was in Turkey, you showed me some like TV shows where like the guy goes on there and the girl is like, "Tell me about your family. Tell me." They have dating shows and stuff like that
Yeah,
in Turkey too. You have reality shows like that, and I think reality shows show a symptom of like the gender war because reality shows are often women fighting over men or men fighting over women or relationships in general. You get what I'm saying? So
yeah. I mean, that's the thing in Turkey. Yeah, like for example, we have this reality show where you put like 10 women and 10 men in the same house and everyone tells what they want. And there was this character who was this like, a bit overweight girl, and she was like, I want my husband to make this much money. I want like a designer bag every month. I want, every time you um, make a surprise or buy me a present, it has to be better than before. And things like crazy stuff that she expected. And she ended up with like this one guy, and this guy was l- in love with her apparently, but he didn't want to tell how much he made because he was scared that he was being used like that. But the thing with Turkey is that's considered normal. In Turkey, it's considered normal that a woman should expect for a man to, do those things and earn a lot of money because a woman will be working at home. It's
mm.
like kind of expected, I feel like, in general. So that's viewed as normal. So to sum it up, we have much bigger problems till it comes to gender wars.
But that sounds like a problem for men because keep it real, like if a man is expected to buy her all these new things all the time. And let's keep it real. Let's keep it real. Turkey is a rich country, but the people are poor. A lot of the people in Turkey are poor, but it's a rich country. They have all that natural coastline, all those natural resources, great geography. It's a rich country, but the people are poor.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a man living in a poor country, like some of the people I know, you know who I'm talking about. You
Yeah.
know who I'm talking about. Like they feel that pressure that they can't have the girl that they want, that they've been dating for years, that they can't marry them, that they can't provide them the life that the family won't accept them. Is that healthy? That sounds like a gender war to me. That sounds like
Yeah.
conflict. You know what I mean?
But the
Shout
thing
out
is,
to Avery Adams, by the way. Shout out to Avery. Shout out to Avery. Say thank you, Avery. Shout out to Avery. But go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, like, but with women asking for all that stuff, they kind of, what they give in return is their freedom. They're expected to stay at home and cook. They're expected to, if let's say, if in social media, if they were, dressing a certain way, going to certain places, they're not expected. Like they should not do that anymore. They should be conservative. They can't have guy friends, and so like all of their social media and social circles that they had before being in that relationship, that just gets like chained
Right.
and sacrifice that sort of luxurious life with their freedom.
Mm.
And some women are
Interesting.
okay with that in Turkey and some are not. So maybe that's our gender war.
Right. All right. Well, any new comments?
Yeah, let me get to these comments. Okay. Avery said hip hop has made it worse. Yes, Simon, you're right. That's why I only listen to dance and house now.
Do do
Nobel said
do 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 do.
Avery said colorism is real. Nobel said colorism certainly affects women more. Ozzy said, Akdi, how big is social media in Turkey? Do women there spend a lot of time on Instagram? Um,
You want
Avery,
to answer that? Answer
yeah,
that real quick.
at first, and then I'll get to the other comments. I mean, social media is very big in Turkey, and yeah, women do spend a lot of time there. It's like how it is in America, but the content for women is like less, out there, and not for all women, of course. But mostly, it's a bit more conservative, and if it's like in Turkey, you wouldn't find a lot of women who post their butts or who post, you know, um, a lot of very revealing bikinis and things like that. There are some, and they're very much ostracized by the society when anything like that happens. They're called all types of like, you know, things like, oh, she's a Lucy and she's a slut and these type of things. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people are on Instagram, a lot of DMing and scamming still going on in Turkey as well. um but yeah, it's basically like the same in that aspect with America.
Right. That no, I don't know anything about Turkish social media, but I would just say that's very true what she said. Number one, because she's Turkish and she knows, but also in Turkey, like it is very conservative. Not as conservative as the Arab world, where they like kill the girls who post naked pictures online or revealing pictures and stuff like that. But it's uh it's still conservative. Like on TV, they don't like to show like sex scenes and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
social media is like it's all about the respectability politics. In Turkey, there are unwritten rules about what you can do and what you can't do. And, that's just what it is.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's funny because like in Turkey, if you're watching a movie and there's a sex scene, it would be like cut and it would skip to the next scene. And social media is kind of like it's kind of like that too.
Yeah.
But there has been a lot of like women celebrities who started like speaking against that, like slut shaming and things like that. Good. Uh, Avery said
Hey,
Americans like
you okay? Oh, I'm sorry. Your connection started going.
Is it okay now?
Yeah, it's good. All right, any new comments? Go ahead.
Yeah, Avery said, "No American slander equals lie to us about how great we are."
That's a joke. It's a joke.
Okay.
He's joking.
Uh, you're American.
American number one, baby. Yes, Lord.
Nobel said, "A lot of guys over here in America not getting tail. The real reason the gender war going on, women still getting theirs. That's where all the disconnect is coming from."
Yeah, so he's saying like not enough men are just having sex.
I guess, or not. Yeah, I guess. But women are still
I
like,
I think that that statement is very easy to dismiss. Like a lot of people will say, "Oh, that's just a silly comment" and stuff like that. But no, this has been like proven. Like there's always these news reports coming out saying that Gen X or millennials are having less sex than their parents and stuff like that. And I that's very fascinating to me. That's one of the things I've wanted to do a live stream about or a video about for a long time. Why are younger kids, the ones who are the most sexually liberal and are exposed to a lot of sexuality, having less sex? You get what I'm saying? Because like I remember when pornography was just becoming on the internet, everybody was saying, "Oh, the kids are going to think sex is a game, sex is just for fun and that sort of thing." But I grew up with the internet, and you know, I'm sure the kids after me are growing up with even more internet than I did, and they're having less sex. You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what that's about. You know?
I think, I mean, this is also something that comes from, my culture, but I feel like the more something is like not recommended and ostracized, and it becomes like a forbidden fruit, and you do it more and you want it more. So like, the more you oppress something or try to oppress something, the more people are going to want to like do it and try to find out. So back in like your day and even in my day, sex was something to be ashamed about, basically. I mean, at least talking from a woman's perspective. My family was telling me, like, "Oh, your virginity is a pearl under the sea, and you should, like, you know, protect it with everything you have," like
Mhm.
that. So the more that it's being normalized, the more people actually like have time to think about it and talk about it, and
Mhm.
therefore they don't have to, discover it immediately the first time they see someone from the opposite gender.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I think my country and your country have somewhat more in common than you might think. Because growing up in Louisiana in my era, I really think I was a part of that last generation of like Southern kids who went to church like every Sunday, and where the Bible was considered like something that we should really revere. Like growing up in the South at in my era, like talking about stuff like sex was a bit taboo. You know what I mean? Like I grew up in that era in Louisiana where they were trying to teach us abstinence is the only way. And there was a lot of like religious based methods on trying to teach us about sexuality and stuff like that. Like there was no sex ed when I was in high school and that sort of thing. And it was a very religious community. Like they were campaigning against abortion and giving people access to like condoms and stuff like that. So, I think America just stopped being like some of what Turkey is, today recently because like I literally saw this with my own eyes because I was a part of a group of kids who would go to different high schools and tell people, "Hey guys, abstinence is the way. You don't want to get STDs like this thing." And we would show nasty pictures of people having herpes and their genitalia all swollen. Like I was a part of that group. You get what I'm saying? So I think there is a lot of like what you said, taboo about sexuality makes people want to do it more. And maybe this new generation is so easy to have it on their phones, they don't care. They're like, "Oh, I don't want to have sex. I can just bust one in my room." You get what I'm saying? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. Like, I just really wish that we had like sex ed in Turkey, and I feel like in Turkey it's more than religion. It's like it has become part of our culture and like our values. basically. Because my
Yeah.
family isn't that religious. My mom didn't go and prayed 5 times a day. She was a Muslim, but she wasn't. She was still drinking and things like that. But she still said those things to me and made me like scared me a little bit about sex.
I think it's good. I might be tripping here, but I think it's good to have some fear of sex. I think it's good for kids if they are learning about sex to have a little bit of fear about it
Yeah.
because it is a very serious thing. Having sex, you can change your whole life with one nut. You can change your whole life with one nut, and that's all you need to know. But anyway, any other comments, or do you want to add on? I don't know. What do you want to do?
Boo Boo Gang said, I loved your video in Mauritius thinking of moving there. Did you guys think it's a good place to move? You
You
want to
want to answer that first?
Sure. Um, I love Mauritius. I feel like it's like heaven on earth. It's one of the most beautiful places that I ever visited. The nature is crazy. The people are nice. All of that, and it's like, bilingual. You have French, you have English, and the food is great. The only thing that is bad about Mauritius is that it's hard to travel around because it's basically in the middle of the ocean. um, and maybe there isn't that much of job opportunities um, as you would have in the US or Canada or bigger cities. But overall, it's like a very peaceful place. Like I would love to retire there, let's say, you know. But that's my opinion of Mauritius.
Yeah, if you really like spicy food, if you really like nice beaches, if you really like hiking, if you can deal with not everybody speaking English, but if you have the ability to learn some French, you'll love Mauritius. Prices there might be going up because every prices around the world. We went there at the right time, didn't we, Acti? Because it wasn't that expensive when we went there, right?
I feel like when we went there, it was right before like the global inflation.
Yeah, like we went at the right time in Mauritius when things were just like affordable. You could rent like a full apartment for like $150 a week. Like I know in a few years, crazy expensive. Like I know crazy
Yeah.
expensive in a few years, but if Mauritius is definitely a dope place if you really want to live in Africa, but you kind of want the Western world with you.
Yeah.
If you want to live in Africa and make sure you always have electricity, you always have Wi-Fi, the water is clean, generally not trying to rip you off. That's the best place in Africa that I've been. I don't know about a lot of other countries. I've been to Tunisia, Tanzania, Kenya, Mauritius. Mauritius is by far the best country in Africa if you really want to live in Africa. That's my opinion, though.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Okay, Nobel said, salute Avery. Ozzy said, is that the reason for the passport bro movement to Nobel War Prize? I don't know what he said. Um,
I'm not sure. Let's.
like, you guys are not getting tail and the women are still getting theirs. And then Ozzy said, is that the reason for the passport bro movement? And Nobel War said, perhaps, I'm sure it's factored in. Avery said, I think the passport movement is due to men not being able to make it to the 1% or wanting traditional values from women, which is not common in the US. Not getting
Yeah.
the US is linked to money and values, just like men here with money feel like they can be with Nadine, Christine, Kathleen, Charlene, Pauline, Claudine, and all at the same time.
That man sounded like DMX. There was Christy, Christina, Paula, Sheena. What these bitches want from. What a crazy comment. It's crazy. What do you think about the passport movement? Or, I don't know. What do you
I
think?
mean, I don't condemn people who travel for sex, because that's it's.
I think you were breaking up. I think you were breaking up there. Can you start over?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't
Go ahead.
condemn any person who travels for sex. I do think it's somewhat problematic if you do this like for 10 years or something because then I feel like maybe that's like a you have some problems with committing to a relationship, or it's basically like being in your whole phase for 10, 15 years. I feel like it might be okay for you know for some time if you want to travel the world, if you want to experience different things, like it could be a fun time. But i'm not like I'm not supporting it, but I'm not also like making them the devil or something. Like, I think like a bit normal.
What's a bit normal? You were breaking up there a bit. What's a
I
bit
think
normal?
it's normal to want to have that sort of adventure because the world right now is becoming very international. It's easier to travel. There are hostels, and you can go work abroad and get paid and things like that. So with
Right.
I feel like understandable that people want to travel. And of course, if you're young and you're not in a relationship, you would want to have fun and have sex with different people. What do you,
This guy said 50-year-old, 60-year-ld passport bros. That's
yeah,
funny.
that's a problem. That's
That's funny. But let's get so yeah. I think passport bros are definitely popping up for the reasons that the guy said. There's people who aren't finding what they like in American women, and I'm gonna keep it real with you. When I got married the first time, when I went to Tunisia, it was because of that very reason. Like I wanted a girl who grew up in a Muslim world in that community and could understand the world that I was trying to enter into. And I feel like that's a noble thing. Honestly, I'm not trying to absolve myself, but I think that's more noble than a guy who says, I want to go to the Philippines to find a girl who can pick up my underwear that's on the floor. Like, bro, you're gross. Like, be a man, pick up your own underwear. Like, don't be sick like
yeah.
that. You know what I mean? I think that's different. But any other comments? I think
Let
have
me read.
you yeah, have you noticed passport bros in Turkey? How do you think people think of them there?
Um, I
Can I
mean,
say something?
yeah, go ahead.
I don't think women in Turkey are checking for black men like that. So if we're thinking about passport bros as in black men, I don't think the general Turkish woman is checking for a black man like that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think like within the Turkish woman, we still have a lot of people who think like who fantasize about you know black dick and think it's like the biggest anaconda that they will ever see and things like that. So I feel like if you're a black man and if a Turkish woman is coming on to you, there's a very high possibility that that's the fantasy and you're being like sexualized in that way. So I'll be honest with that.
No, but
That
I said that Turkish women aren't checking. They are not. Like they don't really want black men like that. That's
no,
what I said.
I don't think that's true.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because like when I go to clubs and like when I before I met you like in and when I came before I came to Serbia, I was going to like I went to this Erasmus bar and things like that, and there were like a lot of different guys, and there were like a bunch of black guys, and all of them seemed to be very busy. Like every time I see a handsome black guy in a club, I feel like there are just like a lot of women around them in Turkey because, like I said, there's that fantasy in Turkish women's mind. I'm not saying like maybe they're not looking for commitment, and that's why I said it's a fantasy. I don't know, but I feel like there's that, especially with the younger generation. Like I can't promise. I don't know how old you guys are. You're like a 40-year-old black man, maybe not, but I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm
Mm.
sorry if I'm hurting feelings here.
I don't know. I don't know. I think Ozzy said, okay, the Turk like basketball players are running through the hose. Yeah, but those are basketball players though. Those are guys who are 6'4", 6'5", 7, 6'8", They're like, of course, if you're a tall, lanky dude, I mean, I think that's gonna attract a lot of women. I don't know about the average black dude. I don't know. I
Okay, I
don't
mean,
know.
let me like be very savage here. We have like two different types of black people, especially in Istanbul. The ones who are like, rich sort of, and like basketball, they could be playing basketball. For example, I met the two guys who were like from Texas or something, who were black, and these guys worked with Turkish Airlines, so they were making money and things like that. So there are those type of black people, and then there's also, I feel like Africans who come to Turkey and they sell like watches and things like that. And that those guys are not getting any pussy. I'm sorry, unless they make themselves look rich.
Let me ask you, what about the African students? Because there's mad African students up there too. You think they're getting any tail, like the normal African guys?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, in a university setting, you're gonna get like.
Oh man, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's
Anyway,
crazy.
wait. I saw some questions here. Avery said, Simon, serious question, Mauritius or Macedonia?
For what? It depends on for what. Mauritius to live, Macedonia to give.
What do you mean to give? You're talking about what?
To give back to the community. We want to give to the community.
Stop lying. Why
Any
you?
other comments?
Mm, Avery said, I wouldn't expect that from Turkey. Ozzy said, there are women in every country checking for brothers, but the question is long term marriage. Yeah, so see, I don't know, like, because it's like a more fantasized, fetishized sort of understanding for Turkish women. I don't know if it would be for marriage. Like, just to be like 100% brutally honest, that might not be the case for most Turkish girls. But like I said, the younger generation is changing. They're more open minded. Um, especially if you're from America, you might, you know, ask, you might get that person who wants to be with you for the long term. But then again, I don't know if it's for the green card or, you know, all of those things.
Mm,
But definitely, you would get laid more if you're a Black American compared to Africans.
mm, mm.
Um, I don't know what that says. That says like, you know,
No, we know. No, we know that where that comes from. We know where
yeah.
that comes from. We know where that comes from.
Um, Nobel War said tokenism fetishized more than desire.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big problem. That's a big problem. We don't want that.
Avery said, so I'm going to Macedonia and Turkey, lol. And Nobel said, are you looking for love or lust? Okay, let's that seems to be the case across the world. Us Black Americans get treated well, but not the Africans.
Yeah, man, that seems to be a common occurrence, man. And that's why I didn't say anything about what she said last time because I try not to throw shade to the Africans. I don't want anybody to think I got beef with Africans or that I dislike Africans. I don't, not at all. I just think we live in a world where the closer you are to whiteness, the more advantage you get. And us as Black Americans, we are living in the heart of what capitalism and white supremacy has generated, the richest, most powerful nation in the world, built on our backs. And we get a lot of the benefits for the proximity to what's considered the pinnacle of white supremacy, America, right? So,
But
that's why I didn't say anything. Go ahead.
I just want to say this: my first year in Istanbul, I met this lady who was working in a beauty center, and I was supposed to give her some English lessons. And she had actually an American boyfriend who she was like in a relationship for 2 years. But this African man or guy was like very, he looked rich. He was wearing suits and she made me talk to him on FaceTime. I don't know why, but I had to meet him, talk to him. He spoke very well, like in terms of English. And yeah, like she was like, I guess like her early 40s. And he was also around that age, I think like 45 or something. So there's that possibility too. Like, there are exceptions obviously, but that was also a rich African man. Sorry.
Mm. I don't know, man. I think this is my thing. I think the Nigerians got game because anywhere you go in the world and the Nigerians are out there, they got some white woman pregnant. Let's keep it real. We keep it real on Simon Hill's channel. I keep it real on my channel. Anywhere the Nigerians go, they got some white woman pregnant. Period.
Well, I,
Huh?
he was Nigerian, by the way.
No,
I
no.
don't remember where he was from.
No, no, I'm lit right now and I'm talking hella spicy. I'm keeping it real. Anywhere the Nigerians go, they get it popping. Because I think the Nigerians are where a lot of black Americans came from because they got the mouthpiece like us. We got the game. Black Americans got the ism. You feel me? We know how to break it down and talk to a woman and get her, to get her feeling us. Nigerians got the ism too. Nigerians got the ism too. But I don't think a lot of the other continent got it. I gotta keep it real.
Yeah.
I gotta keep it real. I'm keeping it a buck. I'm keeping it real on this channel. I'm sorry. Go ahead, man. I'm tripping.
Ah, where was I? Okay. Avery said, LOL, I'm in a committed relationship, so these are all jokes. Wink, wink. Nobel said, I'm afraid of Eastern Europe as a black male. I have no experience, but it seems intimidating. American privilege. And then Ozzy said, Turkey seems interesting, like it's grappling between whether to be westernized or stick to more traditional and conservative values. Does it want to be more European or Middle Eastern?
Do you
And
want to
then,
jump on that?
yeah, I will. Let me read this last comment. Nobel said, LOL, Nigerians and Jamaicans, heavy game.
Yeah, Jamaicans got heavy game. Nigerians got heavy game. Of course, Black Americans got heavy game. But I don't know about the rest of the continent, man. I don't see many Kenyans walking around, you know, dropping loads off, dropping seeds off all around the world. Nigerians be doing that everywhere, heavy, heavy. But yo, I think Boo Boo Gang, what a name is Boo Boo Gang. Boo Boo Gang got a crazy name. Boo Boo Gang said there's been a rise of terrorist attacks in Turkey and the Middle East lately. Is Turkey safe to travel to? Could you answer that first?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, there was a bombing in Ankara, which is the capital, and it was to the international office or something like that. I mean, for now, it is safe to travel to Turkey. It was a terrorist attacks, but I don't think it's going to be. I don't think there's going to be more of them. Of course, you will never know, but for the most part, I would say it's safe. But like, I don't know if you were planning to go to Ankara. Don't go there. Not because it's not safe, because it's boring. But yeah, I feel like if you go to Istanbul or warmer places, it would be safe mostly. Yeah, I don't think there's anything to be scared about.
Yeah. Everywhere when I was in Turkey felt safe. Everywhere. I
Yeah.
didn't feel like I was going to get robbed, shot, killed, nothing like that. Uh, I did see a fight, and there's a video of the fight that we saw in Marmaris. But them boys are fighting like with sticks and like throwing shoes at each other. Middle Eastern fighting. You
They
know
were
how when they
Yeah, they were drunk guys who just got out of a bar and they were fighting, probably over a girl or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It wasn't like how in America where you see that fight and you know they about to start shooting. Like these guys were like, just hitting each other with like converses. I don't
Yeah.
know.
But going back to Ozzy's question, does Turkey want to be more European or Middle Eastern? I mean, that's always a very big conflict for, I feel like, all Turkish people, even for me. I might be like on the more liberal side, but I don't want to be like fully European, and I also don't want to be fully Middle Eastern. So And Turkey, that's why Turkey is so special for me, and the traditions are so special for me, because I feel like our culture is sort of like that bridge between. I mean, our government is leaning towards more traditional values, but the liberal side idealizes European values. So we have that sort of difference between people. So yeah, it's very chaotic. For me, I would love to have like our own, unique set of rules where we can adopt Europe's human rights and those type of politics, but we can also conserve some of the values that Middle East offers. You know, like respect for the family and things like that.
Mm. And can I say something about that briefly?
Yeah.
In my opinion, Turkey wants to be both. They want to be both because they want to show a face to different people. When the rich Arabs come, they want to say, Assalamu alaikum, akhi, welcome to Turkey. We have all the mosques, we have all the places you want to go. And then when the Svetlanas come from Russia, hello, want to party, sexy time. And then when the British come, they want to say, oh, we have all this culture and all this history and this sort of thing. You
Yeah.
know, they Turkey wants to try to be everything to everybody when you go there, and depending on where you go, you're gonna get a different face of Turkey. Does that make sense? That's my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah.
Am I tripping?
No, that's definitely true. Like depending on who you are as a tourist, uh, definitely you're gonna get treated differently. Like I I live like I'm from a small town, and I've seen some Turkish people like change to British accent like this. And so like cringe for me. And then they would change to Arabic like this. The same.
Mm,
So yeah,
mm,
weird in that way.
mm.
Let me read the comment from Boo Boo Gang. Are Turkish people friendly toward Americans since Turkey is not always on good terms with USA? And I don't know if you want to say
You can go. You
again.
can go.
I mean, uh, for a white American, I'm gonna say that yes, you will always be welcomed because in Turkey we view Americans, Canadians, Europeans, British people as people who have money. So you will always get like the one of the best treatments. Now, if you're a Black American, that's is going to depend, but I feel like maybe after they learn you're an American, they might still go for that sort of, you know, happy custom hospitality vibe. But yeah, just as an American traveling to Turkey, beware of not getting scammed. Don't be so naive. That would be my only, recommendation. But mostly Turkish people are like nice to other people, especially foreigners. I don't
Yeah.
know if you want to add to that.
No, I agree with that 1,000%. Turkish people are generally very friendly. By the way, guys, I'm sorry if I start slurring in this bitch because I'm lit. Boy, I'm lit. I'm sorry, but no, Turkish people are generally friendly. It's a generally safe country. There is anti-black racism there, so of course they still refer to us generally by terms related to our enslavement, such as zenchi or any derivative of the term, that sort of thing. So keep that in mind as well. They like to come up to you saying bro, 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 hello, bro, and of course when they see black people, they tend to think that we're going to be more friendly towards them because people are generally not friendly towards us and that sort of thing. And there is some anti-black racism too. You might walk into a store, people might follow you around or look at you weird and that sort of thing. And so yeah, you have to deal with that. But of course, I've given y'all all the game about Turkey. You know what I mean? I gave y'all all the game through several videos. We have to remember that this was a slave holding empire where they kidnapped millions of black men, chopped off our penises, and forced us to work until we die. So I gave y'all all the game about Turkey. I ain't gotta give it to y'all again. So y'all know what it is. Anything else?
Nobel War said Turkey was a key strategic ally during Cold War, good terms with America unless something changed in the last couple of years. Sorry, guys, I thought you were talking politically, socially. Speak of. Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
nobody, if they're like, an owner of a cafe, or they're the waiter, someone that you are going to pay, nobody's going to give, a flying fuck about politics with America. Nobody's going to come up to you and say, oh, you're not our ally. You're anything like that. And like, nobody's thinking about that.
right, right. But all right, do you want to answer this next question?
What? I'm sorry, this is turning into like introduction to Turkey.
People love Turkey. People want to visit Turkey. Go ahead.
What would be a good first city to visit in Turkey? Istanbul, Antalya. I mean, if you're gonna visit during the summer, Antalya is great. If you like the beach, there's a lot of history there. There's a lot of nature, a lot of clubbing and things like that. So Antalya is a good pick. Istanbul, I feel like it would be better if you have the option to go to like somewhere touristic first and then to Istanbul, because Istanbul is like super big, super chaotic, but it is also a very nice city to travel to. A lot of history there as well. Just a bit harder to, find your way and things like that. Like Istanbul has everything except the beach. So it does have the Bosphorus and the sea, but you cannot swim there. So if you want to like go lay down by the beach and that sort of thing, and if you're coming during summer, I would recommend Antalya. And in Antalya, you would find a lot more people who speak English, so it will be easier for you to get around.
All right, so now y'all know about Turkey. That's all I have to say about that. But yeah, let's wrap this up by talking about the gender war once and for all. Once and for all. So, in my opinion, will there always be this conflict between men and women? I hope not, because I hope one day men can come to the understanding that women just want to be with us if they actually like us. And as a man, you're going to get the best woman that you are able to get. And it's the same for the women as well. Women have to check themselves and realize that they're only going to get the best man that they qualify for. Sorry, if you got 3 kids, you make $20,000 a year, you're on food stamps, whatever situation you got, you want to be Miss Career Woman and you waited until 45 to try to look for that Mr. Right. Sorry, you're only going to get what you qualify for. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it works for everybody involved. If you're a guy with no job experience, you just smoke weed all day, or you're a guy who decided to work 50 hours a day just to become a millionaire and you got there and now you want to look for your wife, bro, you're going to get what you qualify for. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's all I'm saying. That's how I feel about the gender war. When everybody realizes you're gonna get what you qualify for, just like your credit score, you're gonna get the car you can pay for. That's just what it is. Until then, everybody's gonna be at each other's throats. You get what I'm saying? I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, to be honest, I feel like gender war is something that affects like a bit more, higher class men and women. I feel like the average man and woman like us have, their own standards, which are normal, and they find a person who is compatible with them. I don't think like the average person is, thinking those sort of things. And basically, like everybody joined the conversation along the way. They have something to say, but I don't think they actually think like that when it comes to like the real life dating. Like these guys in the chat, they have girlfriends and things like that, and they still have something to say about gender wars, which is normal.
Mm,
And yeah, and I agree with you. Like, I think for those people who are actually getting affected by gender wars and things like that, have your standards, but also, check yourself and have your reality too. Don't get caught up on social media and those sort of like delusional thoughts that, you know, you can have 10 ticks, 10 boxes that you need to tick, but you don't tick even three, five boxes and things like that.
right. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna have sympathy for the men and women out there because dating is hard. Trying to find that person is hard. I went through. I know we spoke about whole phase last week, but I went through a lot of shit until I got to you, and maybe you did before you got to me, and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Dating is hard. Getting ghosted is hard. Paying for dinners or drinks that end up being a person that ghosted you later or doesn't want anything with you, or they text you later saying, "Hey, it's not going to work out," after you spent $100 or $200 on dinner. You know what I mean? Like that's hard. Finding out you're not sexually compatible with somebody. That's embarrassing and literally not hard because you didn't get hard. Like there's so many situations you can be
Yeah.
in where that dating literally sucks. Dating itself can suck. Uh, Marriage itself can suck. Being with somebody and you feel like, you know, every day is a conflict or you've sacrificed so much or, you know, it's just, you don't feel like the person is getting you or growing with you or you're going over the same problems over and over again. No matter what situation you're in, it's going to suck a little bit. But you have to realize that there's a way to work through it. There's a way to navigate through that dating thing. There's a way to navigate through marriage. There's a way to navigate through being single. All three of the options have pros and cons. And as men and women, we have to realize the pros and cons of each of our situations can be solved by a different situation. It's about what you're willing to sacrifice and what you're going to enter into. As in, like, you're not going to enter into a situation that's going to automatically be better. You're going to enter into a situation where now the pros and cons have switched as far as the relationship. That's how I feel about all this. You know what I mean? What do you think?
No, I mean, I agree with you. I don't know what else I can add to it. But yeah, like just, be understanding of the other side. Think what they have to do. Think when you're dating a guy, think about, he has to work to, do all this for me and things like that. And guys, think about, like you gave some examples, like also for girls, you give this guy who you like your body and that sort of experience or something like that, and then you get ghosted. Then he paid for your dinner, but that just makes you feel like a prostitute like that. So guys, also think, what is this girl,
Yeah.
doing for me? What is she sacrificing for me? Things like that. And yeah, like hopefully this gender war will end as soon as, some sides accept certain things about the other.
Right. Exactly.
Let's read some
Exactly.
comments.
Yeah.
Avery said, "Facts state for the people in the back." Nobel War said, "My prospects aren't looking good, lol." Avery Adams said, "Duty calls, my girl calling me. See you later. Stay blessed. Catch you next time." And Nobel War said, "I might have to take one of those overweight women with 3 kids making 20K a year. Anyone has low standard relatives in the Midwest." Ah, don't say that, Nobel War. Don't say that. Avery said to Nobel, "Bigger women, 8 out of 10 have better personalities. You're good."
Yeah. I also see Avery said, "Duty calls, my girl calling me. See you later. Stay blessed. Catch you next time." So shout out to Avery once again. Everybody clap for Avery. Good man. He's a good man. We'll see you next time, Avery. But I think we got to the bottom of this gender war stuff. I mean, we could stay on here all night talking about this endless war. Honestly, it probably won't end. But I just hope everybody, realizes like, you know, Nobel, if you feel like you deserve 3 kids, a woman making 3 kids and 20K a year, then that's your mind. That's your mind thinking that you qualify for that. How about instead of thinking you qualify for that, how about you think that you qualify for more? And also on top of that, you're going to act like it. You know what I mean? Like you start working out, you start trying to look for a side gig or something like that. Like whatever you can do to try to up your game. Because we always tell women, oh, you need to lose weight. Oh, you need to do your hair better. Oh, you need to do this and do that to fit what we want. If you really want a woman that's not 3 kids, 20K a year, how about you up your game? You know what I mean? It goes both ways. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's what I would say. And listen, man, remember, guys, I'm just a guy with a cell phone out here chatting it up with my wife. I'm 33 years old. I'm broke. I'm an English teacher. I just happen to live in Budapest. Guys, don't ever take me too seriously. I'm not Kevin Samuels. I'm not here pretending like I'm super successful. I'm just a guy. You know what I mean? I'm just saying what I think is right. Do what you think is right.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll say the Nobel War Prize that like you can have your standards high. You should have your standards high because you attract what you know ask for. So have your standards high, but at the same time, don't be arrogant about the people who come in your way. Try to think of them in different ways. Don't have like I feel like a lot of people, especially in terms of relationships, they have like FOMO, like fear of missing out. So everyone is like, "Oh, what if I find some girl who's sexier? What if I find a guy who's richer?" Like that. Like, don't try to focus on that. Like, just if you feel like that person ticks most of your boxes, go for it a little bit. Check it out. See if it's like worth your time and things like that.
Good advice. Good advice. And with the advice of this very smart woman who's better than me in almost every category, we'll wrap it up here. We've been on here for about 2 hours chopping it up with y'all. So we want to thank everybody who came through. Come through next weekend. This will be a Sunday tradition. Chop it up with AKDI and Simon every Sunday around whenever o'clock. We don't have a set time. And come in live with us. We'll see y'all next weekend and peace.